We have the types of taxes in the strategic tax planning. It has taken different business models. And I can write this and statutory provisions under that. Okay, then there is act, and in the inland revenue the provision is there. I can write, then I'm done. No, anything if it is important rather than it's in the syllabus, just sake of learning, then they know for their future how it is important.
In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes. This was a famous quote by Benjamin Franklin, which shows the importance of the knowledge of taxation. And that is why we have here with us an expert in tax, that is Miss Nayananjali Jayasekara. Thank you very much for joining us, and a very warm welcome. And a very warm welcome to all of you to Learning Pod 2.0, brought to you by Infinity Learning Space. Today we are here to speak about the strategic tax planning because we know the importance of this subject. And to give you a brief introduction about Miss Nayananjali Jayasekara, she is the founder partner of her own audit firm with multiple years of experience in the profession. And she is the tax consultant of Jayasingha and Company as well. She is a fellow chartered accountant at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka and is a fellow member of AAT. She is a member of the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants and also a fellow member of the Chartered Institute of Taxation. She is currently reading for her final year of Master of Business Administration in Taxation at the Postgraduate Institute of Management, University of Sri Jayawardena. Ms. Nayananjali is also a tax expert in the industry with over 10 years of lecturing experience and having produced 7 prize winners to date. Once again, a very warm welcome to you, Ms. Nayananjali. Let's speak a lot about strategic tax planning because it's a very important subject. A lot of people want to know more about it. Let's speak about the main difference, which is the name. From the name itself, it is different. Now it is strategic tax planning. So when compared to corporate taxation, what is different? What are the main differences that we can highlight?
Yeah, the main difference, as you first highlighted, it's 2 names. Then the why there are 2 names, the content is typically is different. And when it comes to SL3, then in that we have the types of taxes, or when it comes to the segment of the tax. For an example, the resident company taxation and the management of the value added tax, it's a type of tax. And that the resident company taxation is a segment which it has taken, and non-resident and international taxation, again a segment. And for that segment, how we are going to apply and they analyze and providing recommendation on that particular scenarios. Then it's totally given as a, if I have taken the law has divided on separate persons, separate segments, and on that separate segments we have to give the solutions. Okay. That was in there. And now in the strategic tax planning, it has taken different business models. In that different business model, it may be in that business model, it may be VAT, income tax, individual income tax, non-resident and international taxation, SSCL, anything. In business model 2, same. Then like that, it has given a real patriarchal situation. Because now, when it comes to patriarchality, if I am giving tax opinion for a particular company, I have to give with reference to VAT, the corporate income tax, and again if there are turnover taxes like SSCL, and again if there are other law concerns, then all these things I have to provide. Then in the same thing, it has embedded this strategic tax plan in the syllabus. It has taken for a business as a continuing business, how the students going to give a tax advice. Secondly, for the organic growth. Then in that situation, on tax incentives, exemptions, then how are we going to give a solution? Or how are we going to give advice on efficient tax planning? And again on the inorganic, maybe for the mergers, acquisition, then all these areas. Not only that, and again for the budget process, and again when it comes to fiscal incentive, and it has taken nice turnaround with reference to the fiscal, the economic part of it, and how tax as a tool it embedded to the economy, and how we are going to use it for the the stability of the economy. Then that even is a 10% of the syllabus, it also taken into consideration, because it's very, very important, because we had sometime with the different governments, we had the very lower tax rates and ended up with massive issues. And again, now we have higher tax there. Then also again for the public, for the taxpayers, there is a burden. Then how tax as a tool, it's governed the economy. Then that part also embedded. Then when it comes to SL3, the corporate taxation, and the strategic tax planning, it's totally different. From the name itself, from the content, and it has taken for this subject, it has taken more practical application, taking the real life scenarios to the study text, to the textbooks. That's the main difference which I can see.
Wow, wonderful. Very interesting and very relevant as well. And speaking about the syllabus a little bit more, because what we saw was that 40% of the total weightage has been given to the learning lead of tax and law for business continuity at C-suite level, which you mentioned. What can we go into a little more detail about what this actually means? What does it mean to our students, and how can they approach it in the practical sense?
Now, when it comes to this 40% of area, it has divided into main. Again, for the subtopics, it has divided. In that division, they taken the focus on the one thing, comprehensive tax computation for the corporates. That's for the company. Then from that, the students should have a more understanding on the application and the computation part of that corporate income tax at the comprehensive level. That's the one part. Then other than that, when we are doing a business, how tax as a tool, it impact to us. Then under that, it has taken VAT, transfer pricing, international taxation, and all these areas. If I'm as a corporate citizen in Sri Lanka, if I am doing my business, what are the taxes impact to me? And when I'm taking a decision in that context, how that taxes may be badly fit, maybe I can manage. Then for that, how am I going to plan for tax? Then that all entire package, it has given this 40% area. Then for students, it's a case study. Actually, if a real life situation, it's a problem solving, it's an analytical angle and the logical thinking they have to look at on this scenario. Even it's for their exam, but it's a practical. Tax is totally a practical subject. Then in that situation, for this 40%, for apply that to the examination, the first they have to pass the exam. No, that's these all efforts we are taking. Then for them to pass the exam, they have to apply this all relevant areas for the business continuity, not only the writing part, but also with the calculation and wider knowledge of the application with the analytical ability of the students. Then that's why it's a 40%, and that's why it's very, very important.
Wonderful. And also, since we spoke a lot about the 40% that was covered, we want to talk a little bit more about there's a total of 50%, 25% each of the weightage that has been allocated for tax and law for organic and inorganic growth decisions. What exactly does this mean? I know you gave us a brief introduction towards it in our first question, but what exactly does this mean? And who do these taxes apply to in Sri Lanka, and why is it important that we learn it at this stage?
Now again, after 40%, they have allocated 25 each for the inorganic as well as the organic growth.
Yes.
Now, for example, I will take that together. Now, for example, if now I'm in a business offer for taking a manufacturing sector, then I need to move, I need to expand my business. Then I have two options. I can develop internally myself by maybe separate, again registering a separate company and expand my business, or else I can go for the acquisition, or I can go for the merge, or I can have a joint venture with another party. Then that two scenarios, the organic and the inorganic situation, then how tax as a tool we can apply. Then in that, in the organic growth, we need to look at if I'm starting a new thing, in that situation, exemptions, tax incentives, and how the application of the tax rates. Now those things it need to focus. And again, it's when it comes to the inorganic growth, the mergers, acquisition, and all these things, again we need to look at tax perspective, how to finance. Then in that sense, what's the tax application? And if there are business losses and all these things, how we are going to cater that as the benefit. Then likewise, the syllabus is in the even now business continuity to expansion in a two different ways. It has taken that two different ways how tax can be applicable. It has tested again really practical. Then day to day we have to do these things. This analysis of the options given. In that option, whether internally doing this is good, or else can we go for the acquisition. Then like that we can evaluate the options. For that, the separate the tools they have given, then using that the students they have to analyze the scenarios and they have to give the recommendation what is good. Whatever it has divided into two, it's for the perspective of the students to understand it and the applying in the correct manner. Then it's a 25-50. It's very, very important through the syllabus to them to capture real life example once they are become a chartered accountant. This is very, very important.
Okay, and since you mentioned about application, because there is also a part about statutory provisions and case laws, how do they decide on the application of statutory provisions and case laws, and how do they approach what the real application is relevant to the subject matter? And also, are there new case laws included within the new curriculum? How does that work?
I will answer your
Yes.
last question first.
Okay.
Then the new case laws in the curriculum, it has mentioned that time to time they will provide the particular case laws, but still it has not the draft or design, but it has given the time to time. Then they will provide the relevant case laws. Then that it is for the your last question. Then when it comes to this application of the case law, we have the precedents. Then it's a judicial precedents are there. That is always going with the act. We cannot apply that isolately. Then we have to go with the act. For that, again, there should be a real life scenario for us to apply that particular to solve that issue. Then we have case law provisions, we have the act. Then we need to look at what is the situation, how we apply that to the given situation. Now the students thinking, okay, I can remember the name of the case law, then I can write this and statutory provisions under that, okay. Then there is act, and in the inland revenue the provision is there, I can write, then I'm done. No. Then they have to take that real life scenario, and as you have asked, how they are going to approach, that's the approach. Then they need to identify theory part first. This tax is a law, then they have to really need to know the law. If not, any of the stories what we are discussing, it's no more, because they have to understand the theory. We cannot tell wrong things. We cannot tell this is good as per me. No, nothing like that. Then they have to know the section, they have to know the provision, and they have to take that out first. Then on that, they have to apply it to the scenario, and after that, they need to justify more it through the case law provision. That is the area where case law is very much important for us to tell, okay, in earlier also, there is a decision like this, then combined with this one, my opinion is correct. Then at that manner, the application, that approach should be there with the recommendation or a conclusion. They should need to go for the formatted, the answer. That's how the case law provisions applicable. It's not just writing a name or a content of the case law.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. And also speaking about the new syllabus, where new inclusions have been made, it includes measures that are relevant to new acts, which were brought in relevant to anti-corruption, anti-money laundering, personal data protection. All of this is rather new for a lot of students. How and what is your approach to easing the students into these topics?
The first thing is, we need to tell students the importance of these things. Now, if I have taken the Anti-Money Laundering Act, it is now not only important to the banks or financial institutions, even as the professionals, if we are doing our own practice, for us also it's very, very important. We need to know about our clients. It's not only the know your customers and how the money came and all these things. We have to do these things. Then as a syllabus, if it now the Data Privacy Act, and when it comes to this Anti-Money Laundering Act, and all these things it's a new, and therefore first thing we need to tell the students the importance of these things. Anything, if it is important rather than it's in the syllabus, just sake of learning, then they know for their future how it is important. From that importance, after that we need to take for this tax part of it, the strategic tax planning, how that laws we have to connect. Now, for an example, if there is a decision of the acquisition, then in that situation we need to know about the company well. Then in that situation we have to use this, especially now the Anti-Money Laundering Act. We have to use how they are funding, what's their main business activity, the due diligence things we have to do. Then in that, first, if it is a AML, we need to guide a student. This is the AML, these are the features, and this is the law. And in the real life with the tax, in the given scenario, how it can be applicable, we need to give the guidelines. Of course, Sumindra, as you have said, all new. Yeah. Then nothing to do. Then not only tax, but also these areas with reference to taking a good decision. Good tax opinion, how these areas embedded, it should be communicated to the students. Then if it is so, they will understand the importance of this. And for sure, the strategic level students, they are very understandable and they are very committed, and they are in the mindset, okay, we need to pass, we should be chartered accountants. Yeah. Then in that mindset, they are taking this in a good manner. I am pretty sure about that.
Wonderful. Well, very positive, and we love it. Ms. Nayananjali, we also want to ask you, because this time we are also looking at taxes relevant to Sri Lanka and the government budgets and the process of it. Something that is relevant to and that is talked about by every citizen, not just the students, but every citizen. So how important would you say it is to understand and evaluate such topics at this stage?
Yeah, it's very important that as the Sri Lankan, all citizens, we know in November there is a budget and Parliament, there is a discussion like that. And after that, some of now, especially we are in so concerned, but the other, the public, then they don't much concern. Then we are looking for, okay, now there should be a bill, and after that there should be act, and what happened? Now the particular part of the society is more concerned about that. But it's not like that, because it is impact to all the country, increasing of the salary and the reducing of or increasing of the tax rates and fiscal incentives, then lot of areas. Then therefore, even the students, they don't know what's the process of the budget. Then after budget reading, what is happening, and there are legislators, there are administrators, the the who people who make the law and people who execute the law. Then these areas they should know. Then that is a lacking part from the previous, but now it has taken into the syllabus, and now it's in the application. Then it is very, very important, because as you said, being a citizens, yes, the tax is a main revenue tool to the government. Then to collect that revenue tool, how the process is going, then they should know that. And that is one of the good angle which I can say as a awareness, as a communication to them, other than the exam preparation.
Okay. And since we're talking about exam preparation, just a few more questions to you because it's so interesting and relevant. Lots of exemptions, lots of policy changes, rate changes, new acts. What is your advice for students that are attempting this paper for the first time under this curriculum, and also how can Infinity Learning Space help them to achieve their target?
Again, which is when it comes to this, since this is new for me also new, and for the students also new, then we have to do the 100% of the syllabus, nothing other than anything. Then we don't know what's the examiner's areas, we don't know. Then we have to take 100% of the syllabus, and we have to do that. That's the theory part of it. And that laws, which is Anti-Money Laundering Act, the Personal Data Protection Act, and when it comes to other, then AI is there, and then all these things are, the digitalization, for all these things are there. Then we need to make aware the students through the syllabus, okay, these are the subtopics, you have to do these things, and this is the flow. That's the first thing. Then I'm pretty sure I'm doing 100% of the syllabus. Then that benefit is there for them. Not only the syllabus. Now, from the starting from, I have mentioned, this is the strategic level, and this is the analytical thinking should be there, and this is for the C-suite. Then for the CEO, C-double-O's, for all starting from C, then this is applicable. Then is strategic decision. Then one day, you being a chartered accountant, you have to do that. Then therefore, this is the background for that. Then we are preparing a student, not only from the theory, embedding theory. Now we need to take the case study based question. Then in that case study based question, we need to take the theory plus that application, and after that, the recommendations. Then always, if someone asking something from you, if you have mentioned answer, it can be happen or can't be, then it's not a good way. Then you have to straightforward, you have to tell, then this is the answer. Then always you have to tell, if this is the answer, why it is answer. Then logical flow. For you to take that answer, then you need to tell, these are the provisions I have analyzed. And then same thing they have to do. Then it's been a laws and new laws and changes, and all these things, they have to be in live in the subject. Okay. The effective learning, it's compulsory for the students. If not, this is it's a communication. Always we have two-way communication. Yeah. So then therefore the effective communication, it should be two ways. Yes. Then therefore not only the lecturer but also students, then they have to be in live in the subject. Effective engagement it's very, very important. Then therefore, even I have done 100% of the syllabus, even I have done the PATRIS questions, and not only that, we are providing the, which is a pilot paper, we are doing pilot paper, and again the sample questions if it is more, and the model papers. Of course, for this time, the model papers we have to do on behalf of the student. Then that's the reason the students should select the Infinity Learning Space. The reason it's an all-round package and with very trust. Then normally I'm not a person, if I have given some promise, anyway I'm doing that. Then therefore, this is the good place for students to learn, to achieve their ultimate goal of to be a chartered accountant. And I know syllabus is little bit, it is not in maybe students in first time feel uncomfortable, maybe for the first week, second week, but after that we are used to that. Then with the intention of their main goal to be a chartered accountant, then anyway they will at the strategic level they will do that. And from our end, all the theory application, question discussion, mock papers, pilot papers we are doing to make you pass.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ms. Nayananjali, for speaking to us, for taking us through a comprehensive discussion about the new tax paper, the strategic tax planning paper. We truly appreciate it and looking forward to seeing you much more as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lavindra.
Well, you heard it from the tax expert in the industry herself. You have nothing to worry about, and she will definitely take care of you to make sure that you pass the strategic tax planning paper. That's it from us from the Learning Pod 2.0, brought to you by Infinity Learning Space. Stay tuned with us as we bring you more podcasts just like these.